Hey rum fans, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about this rum, Scratch Patience, but more about the distillery, Scratch Distillery, which is a UK Scratch distillery. Not a million miles away from me actually, but less than 40 minutes away, kind of, I'd say Stevenage. It's kind of sort of loosely based Stevenage way, Hertfordshire. I filming this the day after. I went and spent the day with, or a few hours with Doug, as he calls himself on the back of the bottle here, Chief Molasses Stirrer. I like that. Now, in my head, I thought this video, planning this video, I thought this was going to be a vlog video. A lot of you have seen the Portsmouth video that I did when I went down and did a distillery tour. I thought that this, or I was hoping that this was going to be more of the same. I was going to give you a bit more in-depth knowledge behind the scenes of Scratch Distillery. Now, it didn't quite pan out like that, but all for good reasons, because it became apparently obvious after spending just about 15 minutes with Doug that this was no ordinary distillery. And he completely and utterly blew me away with science, with processes, with rum, with passion. The passion that guy bleeds for rum is like nothing I've ever witnessed before. It is just insane to spend a few hours with him. Doug, I'll tell you now, thank you so much for yesterday. I'm still buzzing off the back of it. My head is completely fried trying to process everything you were kind of telling me and teaching me. It was just fantastic. Now, to take you on a little bit of a backstory from my point of view for Scratch. I've known about these guys for a long time. I think, I don't know rough dates, but I think they are pretty much the first, if not one of the very first rum distilleries in the UK making from scratch. Yes, I know Dr. John from the English Spirit Distillery has been making old salt rum 12 years now, 10, definitely 10 years. That I know, well, I think it's 10 years that I know of. It's very, very close to that at least. So there was a couple of rum distillers that have been around, but Doug is probably, to my mind, one of the I'm just going to call him one of the OGs, if not the OG, because, as I say, I've known Scratch. They've been on my radar a long time, but my perception of Scratch, because I didn't know what they do, and this is going to be quite funny to Doug, sort of listening to back. And to a few of you that kind of know what he's about, my perception of them was kind of like a part-time hobby business. Sorry, simply because, just going by, Doug openly, he's not all over social media. That will become apparent why in a bit. I'm looking. I've got his page up, the sales page up on the website. He's got 5 rums up on the website. 1, 2, 3 of them are sold out. And one of them, he openly admits he's got a little bit left, and I'm kind of thinking, what is going on? Why have you got no rums available? This rum, for instance, Scratch, this is the Patience Rum. This was a 2020 rum. This was bottled in 2020, and it contains a blend of 2- and 3-year-old rums. So you know full well that he's perfected his art, or as he puts it, ongoing process. Like well before 2017, So my mind, like going up there, what I've seen photos, I've seen the new distillery, the new pot stills that they've got there, or newer sort of pot stills that they've got there. I think they've got a couple of additions, massive. I forget the one's 1,000 litre, and the other, I think that's right. It may have been bigger. Sorry, my knowledge, my fact bombs have completely just gone. But he's got 2 proper, what I call proper pot stills. I'll flash those up on screen now so you can kind of see what's going on there. And I was kind of like, well, hang on, this has got to be more than a hobby. It has to be, but why are the rums not out in the general domain? So after speaking to him, after I like kind of initial introductions, we'd had a bit of banter on Instagram, but that's it. I've never met him in person. So a bit of banter, absolutely lovely guy. So excited that I was there. I was so excited that I was there because he just generally loves sharing his passion, but with a caveat. He has honed his skill and his process, and he's not kind of, quite rightly so, not kind of willing to give too much of it away to the general domain, because it is very much his process, it is very much his methods. And chatting to other rum distillers, and I don't mean this in a bad or a harsh way at all, but from the little bits I've witnessed around the UK, that, you know, there's like, let's put in football terms, there's dug up in like Champions League elite, and there's like other distillers that are kind of, you know, maybe not even Premiership, maybe like Championship, League One sort of territory. Just fascinating. I'm going to try and go through little bits that I can without divulging too much information. Not that I could remember too much information, but just little bits that kind of wowed me yesterday. So, as I say, he's got these two. He's actually got 3 pot stills, but two are in action. He's got his whole distillery set up in the line, so it's like I don't want to call it a conveyor belt, but it makes sense, if you know what I mean. So he's got his sugar end when a molasses come in, and let's just talk molasses for 2 seconds here. I don't really know too much about molasses. I knew there was a few different grades of molasses, but I would, you know, I don't know what's the best of the best. Doug assures me that he uses the absolute best grade A molasses in there, and very few people, because of cost. And when he told me the cost, I'm not going to divulge that, but when he told me the cost of what this what the hell was it, 101.5 tons, I think it came in, sort of a 1.5, I think it was 1.5 tons, 1,500 kilos, I think that's what it was. You know, when he comes out, he gets 2 delivered at a time. I forget what that was now, 2, I don't think it was 2 a week, but it was 2 quite regularly at a time. Let's just put it like this: outside there was 4 empty ones outside waiting to be collected. So not only are we on grade A molasses there, I think I can kind of say that on camera safely. But then we've kind of got into the fermenting room and the dunder, and I can show you photos. I'll flick photos on screen of this into the fermenting and dunder room, if you like. And to mine, you know, ferments and yeast strains and all that are completely oblivious to me. I thought there might have been 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 different yeast strains. Completely blew me away. I'm not going to mention it. I've got a few yeast strains that I know he uses. I'm not going to go through all that. That's his secrets, his recipes and all that. But just to say that no 2 rums that he creates are the same. So when I'm looking at that, thinking, what is going on here? Where are your rums? Why are your rums out there? It became, once he actually told me, it became apparent that I say a very luxury position. This is obviously down to him of years dedicating his skill, dedicating his craft, perfecting his craft, being one of the, if not the best rum producers in the UK. He's in a very fortunate position where he's paid kind of upfront for his rum. And I will link to Berry Brothers and Rudd is one. He's got a few others, contracts on the go, a few others hopefully signed off, and all this. I won't go into details with those. He didn't share those with me, but I know the Berry Brothers and Rudd one because that's out in the public domain, and I'll share a link to that below. But he's in a very fortunate position where he is trusted by these bottlers, if you like, sellers, whatever you want to call them, to produce rum on their behalf and age it. No specifications. Here's some money. You create us rum. We'll come back to you in 4 years, in 6 years, in 8 years, or whatever, and we will sell your rum in bottles. So Berry Brothers and Rudd are the first ones in that. And then it kind of was like, I was chatting to Doug, and I was like, well, okay, then when can we expect to get this rum? When's it going to be on the shelves? And he was quite open. 4 years, if it's ready. If it's not ready, 5 years. I'm like. And it's then when I'm piecing bits together where I'm thinking, hang on a minute here, this is a massive long-term project that's got going on here. You know, we're not just churning out white rum to sell. We're not just churning out a gold rum, an unaged gold rum. Everything he produces is to a very, very minimum, that's the wrong way to say, to a very high standard. You know, he's not just going to put a rum out there just because he has to. It's going to be the best that he can do. Now, there will be, I've dropped this in now, there will be one rum dropping this summer. And hopefully, to my membership community, we might be able to get a taste along on this, or at least get samples. I'm definitely having a bottle. We've affectionately titled it Bananarama. It's the working title. Doug's Rums have got this. I've tried so many tiny little samples, so many different samples yesterday. He's got this inherent banana-y thing going on through the rum, but it's so fascinating. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the distilling, which blew me away in a second. But you know, this rum, it's a 4-year-old rum. That will be a 4-year-old rum in the summer. I think it already is a 4-year-old rum. In effect, but yeah, that'll be dropping this summer, and it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You can tell not only the barrel influence, you can tell the yeast strains that have really influenced this. You can tell the bit of the dunder that he uses has kind of influenced this. This is like no other UK rum that I've tasted, not even in remotely in the same ballpark. You know, I'm putting this liquid way up there in some of the world's best that I've tasted. Unbelievable stuff. And I also tried a 10-year-old that he's got there, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old maybe. Did try his gold as well. His gold he's quite open about it. It's very, very different rum actually. It was either 3 or 6 months in the cask, and that's it. It's effectively an unaged rum that's just gold because of the cask colour. It's very light, but it's a very light and crisp rum. It's my kind of daiquiri rum. It was an amazing kind of gold rum. So I will get a bottle of that to kind of play about with, and maybe send some samples out to my members as well. But the thing is, he said to me, he doesn't want to be known for that. That's not what he does. He produces rums and ages them. You know, the whole process in there. For him to do a kind of a white unaged rum is probably not what he wants to be known for. He wants to be known for his big sort of casks things. He's got whole cask programs. Again, I'll flash a couple of, depending, I'll do it again if I've already flashed it, but I'll flash it on screen now. He's got like Tokai, a couple of Tokai barrels going on there. He's got bourbon barrels. He's got a what was it? It was a red wine. I forget. But just say a red wine cask going on. I completely forgot what it was now. You'll see it on screen there. Tokai, if you don't know, is a very, very lovely Hungarian wine. Quite unique, quite expensive. So he's got a couple of casks in that. But basically, these bottlers are just giving him casks to fill and then age. And, you just create a unique rum. Now, to get back to his whole distilling process, and this is kind of what really blew me away, because we've been conditioned to think, like, when distillers get going and on their distilling run, it's some people try and get it done as quickly as possible, a couple of hours and all that. I met up with him at just before midday. He'd already been on the go for a good few hours, and he generally didn't know when the distilling run would finish. He said I might be done by 8 o'clock. It might still be going. It might still be producing fantastic liquid at 10, 11 o'clock tonight. He's not just going to do a distilling run to set times. It's all about tasting and sampling every kind of jug that he was getting out. It was a 2-litre jug that he kept topping up, kept sort of emptying in there. And this was the unbelievable thing to me, because as I was getting onto, we are conditioned to kind of think that the heads, disregard the heads. The heads is going to be the rubbish rum. The tails is going to be the rubbish. All you really want is the hearts going into your rum. That completely chucked out the window yesterday. Completely and utterly chucked out the window, because the first, it was just about coming off the still. So it'd been on its way. It'd been distilling for a couple of hours, say, I don't know. And it just got to the point when I turned up just before midday that it would start to come out and start to sort. So I think I got there roughly after 2 litres, maybe 2 litres had come out there. Tasting that liquid at 80, again, I'm not sure whether I should be sharing these ABVs or not. I won't go into too much detail, but all I will say is that in the time I was there, the 3 hours that I was there, the ABV only dropped just over 2%. And in that time, in those 3 hours, we tasted at least 5 different profiles coming off that rum. And we are only talking, hang on, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We are only talking 20 litres coming off the still. Maybe a bit, no, it's rubbish, sorry. 2, 4, 20, 40, 60. Maybe about sort of 60 litres, 60 to 80 litres coming off the still in that time. And it completely changed at least 5 times. It started off with this really kind of powerful, lovely, sort of peppery note that you would quite happily drink, even at sort of 80s ABVs, you know, percent ABV. It was just lovely and luscious. Very quickly went into this pineapple bomb, like absolute pineapple bomb. And then it went quite savoury. There was like sort of a nuttiness kind of thing. And then we sort of got into the hearts a little bit, where it just turned into, what do we call it? More cream soda. It just had this lovely buttery cream soda. It really reminded us both of cream soda, like cans of cream soda. And it was just this fascinating thing. And his whole thing was, well, why would I want to get rid of that first part, the heads? That is a fantastic quality rum. And it got me thinking that actually, when I don't know anything about distilling, all I know is the knowledge that distillers have been sharing with me and what I've seen over the last sort of year or so. And it got me thinking, it isn't about getting rid of the heads and the tails. It isn't about even redistilling the heads and the tails. It's actually about producing the best quality liquid with every single drop of rum that comes off that still. And that was just what blew me away, because you're sort of thinking, well, 20 litres of that is just going to go and get redistilled in another batch. No, absolutely not. It was the heads, the hearts definitely went into a barrel, an IBC, ready to be filled into barrels. But there's other bits in the process that he's going to do, and it was this pineapple bomb, literally on after maybe between 25 and 40 litres, still at sort of your 80% ABV. Remember, I only dropped 2% ABV in the time I was there, and it was just, I cannot stress enough how amazing that liquid tasted. I know that was very strong. I know that has to be watered down, diluted down to get it into car strength, bottle strength. You're not going to be selling an 80% rum. But Jesus Christ. And I know there's one person that's there today as I'm filming. I'm not sure whether you watch this, but you are in for a proper treat if you taste any of that sort of today. So this whole process with playing about with different yeast strains, different, the dunder, the molasses, the grade A molasses, the different, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. Even to the facts, right? He's even got what we affectionately called a Solera system for his slow. He's got a slow rum, which is kind of a passion project. He's got slows just literally growing outside the distillery. That's what he uses. He's got these old milk churns. What are they called? Churns. Milk churns. I think the churns. And he just, he's just got this whole Solera system going on for the slows, just to kind of bottom. Oh my God. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic liquid. So, before I get into tasting this rum, and I'm not sure, you probably won't even be able to get this rum before, but after revisiting this rum, it is very much his signature kind of taste and aroma, even though this is still very young to what he's actually aging now. This is a 2 and 3 year old. As I say, I think the youngest he had in there was all right, it's gold rum, but the youngest aged he had was like 4-year-old, I think. But it is that sort of inherent banana-y, toffee kind of vibe, and as you can see, I love this rum. It's a shame that I can't get any more of this rum. There might be an odd bottle around at Berry Brothers or Whiskey Exchange or something like that. And I would advise you, if you do see it, to pick it up, because it is fantastic rum. But I'm so excited that I've made friends with Doug. Ellie, I'm really sorry you weren't there. But I just want to keep so really close track of what Doug is doing at Scratch, because you can tell my mind has just been completely blown. I'm still sitting here trying to remember stuff and trying to remember bits that I can tell you and can't tell you, and it was just this whole fascination. I hope the photos that I put up do kind of do it justice. But if you see the first lot, as I say, when Berry Brothers have eventually release this in 4 years' time, you know, definitely grab. We are talking expensive. It's not going to be sort of 30-40 pound rums. We are talking more expensive than that. But I will be keeping the track, and we will be getting the old banana, whatever he names it up as. I don't think he'll go banana rama, but it is quite funny because it's just a fantastic rum. So yeah, that's Scratch. Do not underestimate what they are doing. He's got the capacity. One thing I haven't said, he's got the capacity to fill between 4 and 8 casks a month, and that is kind of what he's doing. So you can kind of tell the operation that he's going on there, and nothing will be released anytime soon, except for his own stuff that he's got the projects going been on there. So he's looking to do one in the summer, one in the winter, maybe what's it called? Maybe the Faithful again. Maybe what's that? Ellie's. Apparently Ellie likes the botanical rum because it's kind of like a, you know, so it's a botanical rum. You don't need to explain on that. So that's kind of Ellie's passion project, I think, a little bit. But he's got the Faithful that he might kind of do. He's got a little bit of Slow that he might kind of do again. He's got the Gold on the go at the moment, but he doesn't want to be really known for those. He wants to be known for his cask age stuff. So fantastic distillery. You know full well that for any doubters, that he's going to be around for a good few years doing exactly what he loves doing, because the rum's already been bought and paid for. So he's just being paid to create rum. What a luxury position that is. So they are. Let's say they, because Ellie is sort of part-time in the business, apparently. I don't know kind of the full setup. I know what else she does. I won't kind of say that, but she is very much part of the business as well. So they are on for potentially massive things, maybe on an international scale. Amazing. Absolutely mind blown by that. I hope this video does you justice. I hope you don't just realise that this is just kind of me blowing smoke up the backside and unwarranted, because I promise you, even rum geeks out there, you are going to fall in love with some of that stuff. Unbelievable stuff.